Matthew chapter 21 verse 1. 46. Matthew chapter 21 verse 1. Now when they drew near to Jerusalem and came to Bethphage, to the Mount of Olives, then Jesus sent 2 disciples. Matthew chapter 21 verse 3. If anyone says anything to you, you shall say, the Lord needs them, and he will send them at once. Matthew chapter 21 verse 3. If anyone says anything to you, you shall say, the Lord needs them, and he will. Matthew chapter 21 verse 4. This took place to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet, saying, Matthew chapter 21 verse 5. Say to the daughter of Zion, behold, your king is coming to you, humble, and mounted on a donkey, and on a colt, the foal of a beast of burden. Matthew chapter 21 verse 6. The disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. Matthew chapter 21 verse 7. They brought the donkey and the colt and put on them their clothes, and he sat on them. Matthew chapter 21 verse 8. Most of the crowd spread their cloaks on the road, and others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. Matthew chapter 21 verse 9. And the crowds that went before him and that followed him were shouting, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest. Matthew chapter 21 verse 10. And when he entered Jerusalem, the whole city was stirred up, saying, Who is this? Matthew chapter 21 verse 11. And the crowd said, This is the prophet Jesus, from Nazareth of Galilee. Matthew chapter 21 verse 12. And Jesus entered the temple and drove out all who sold and bought in the temple, and he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons. Matthew chapter 21 verse 13. He said to them, It is written, My house shall be called a house of prayer, but you make it a den of robbers. Matthew chapter 21 verse 14. And the blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and he healed them. Matthew chapter 21 verse 15. But when the chief priests and the scribes saw the wonderful things that he did, and the children crying out in the temple, Hosanna to the Son of David, they were Matthew chapter 21 verse 16. And they said to him, Do you hear what these are saying? And Jesus said to them, Yes, have you never read, Out of the mouth of infants and nursing babies you have prepared praise. Matthew chapter 21 verse 17. And leaving them, he went out of the city to Bethany and lodged there. Matthew chapter 21 verse 18. In the morning, as he was returning to the city, he became hungry. Matthew chapter 21 verse 19. And seeing a fig tree by the wayside, he went to it and found nothing on it but only leaves. And he said to it, May no fruit ever come from you again. And the fig tree withered at once. Matthew chapter 21 verse 20. When the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, How did the fig tree wither at once? Matthew chapter 21 verse 21. And Jesus answered them, Truly, I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, Be taken up and thrown into the sea, it will happen. Matthew chapter 21 verse 22. And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive, if you have faith. Matthew chapter 21 verse 24. Jesus answered them, I also will ask you one question, and if you tell me the answer, then I also will tell you by what authority I do these things. Matthew chapter 21 verse 25. The baptism of John, from where did it come? From heaven or from man? And they discussed it among themselves, saying, If we say, from heaven, he will say to us, Why then did you not believe him? Matthew chapter 21 verse 26. But if we say, from man, we are afraid of the crowd, for they all hold that John was a prophet. Matthew chapter 21 verse 27. So they answered Jesus, We do not know. And he said to them, Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things. Matthew chapter 21 verse 28. What do you think? A man had 2 sons. And he went to the first and said, Son, go and work in the vineyard today. Matthew chapter 21 verse 29. And he answered, I will not, but afterward he changed his mind and went. Matthew chapter 21 verse 30. And he went to the other son and said the same. And he answered, I go, sir, but did not go. Matthew chapter 21 verse 31. Which of the two did the will of his father? They said, The first. Jesus said to them, Truly, I say to you, the tax collectors and the prostitutes go into the kingdom of God before you. Matthew chapter 21 verse 32. For John came to you in the way of righteousness, and you did not believe him, but the tax collectors and the prostitutes believed him. And even when you saw it, you did not afterward change your minds and believe him. Matthew chapter 21 verse 33. Here another parable. There was a master of a house who planted a vineyard and put a fence around it and dug a winepress in it and built a tower and leased it to tenants, and went into another country. Matthew chapter 21 verse 34. When the season for fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the tenants to get his fruit. Matthew chapter 21 verse 35. And the tenants took his servants and beat one, killed another, and stoned another. Matthew chapter 21 verse 36. Again he sent other servants, more than the first, and they did the same to them. Matthew chapter 21 verse 37. Finally he sent his son to them, saying, They will respect my son. Matthew chapter 21 verse 38. But when the tenants saw the son, they said to themselves, This is the heir. Come, let us kill him and have his inheritance. Matthew chapter 21 verse 39. And they took him and threw him out of the vineyard and killed him. Matthew chapter 21 verse 40. When therefore the owner of the vineyard comes, what will he do to those tenants? Matthew chapter 21 verse 41. They said to him, He will put those wretches to a miserable death and let out the vineyard to other tenants who will give him the fruits in their seasons. Matthew chapter 21 verse 42. Jesus said to them, Have you never read in the scriptures, the stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. This was the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Matthew chapter 21 verse 43. Therefore I tell you,